Yo, 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 no maniacs, welcome to the show. This is Nomad Live, all bears all the time, in conjunction with Sports Zone Chicago, with the superback Sean Greg Sierra, who is not with us today, chose to go to opening day at the Sox Stadium and be disappointed and have a stomach ache from all those bratwursts. But he will be back tomorrow. Is my guest. And hey, welcome to the show, you guys. Before we get going, man, let's make sure we get those likes up today, man. Hit those like buttons. And anybody new to the show, make sure you hit the subscribe. We will greatly appreciate it, man. And before as we get going with Kez giving his intro, man, let's tap in, man. Let's check in with everybody. Let's see where everybody's from. It's always somebody new. John Stegmeyer is new. This first person I've seen, first guy I've seen, first time I've seen him rather. So welcome to the show, John. If you've been here before, I apologize, but this is my first time seeing you. So welcome to the family, my bro.
Yes.
We're gonna hold on, okay. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff, and the thumbnail is whether or not we think the number 9 pick is too valuable to trade down, and it's probably gonna be a long discussion. We're gonna talk about some 30 visits, we're gonna talk about some combine visits that I don't know got reported out already. And a bunch of other different news and notes that I have over here. But kids, go ahead and take it away, man. Let's get some shout outs and pleasantries.
Absolutely. Yo, no maniacs. Let's get a roll call going. Where you from? Where you at? Throw that in the chat. And it's always good to see where everybody's from. We got Barbecue and Fit across the lake, Zeeland, Michigan. Good to see you there, my friend. Good to see you. Smitty Q in the building. What's up, Smitty? Our guy Plank, number 1 no maniac, representing as per normal. FFG style in there early. Cornelius Squalls in there early. Again, tippy top no maniac. Knox Corbett, always great to see you. Starkey Love, what up? Oliver Chapman, James Ford, Billy Ocean.
Miguel right
Going
here.
gets tough, brother. Going gets tough. Who else we got?
Got Miguel right there.
Oh, my guy, Miguel. What's up, Miguel? Good to see you again. There's some new heads here. By all means, like, share, subscribe. Keep supporting the network. We really appreciate it. Jason Jones, the homie Squeegee. As per always, King Booker World in the building. Good to see you, King Booker. Dante Purified. This is the first time I'm seeing you, Dante. Welcome in. Welcome home. We'll have some fun here today. Our guy, Trapper Keeper. What's happening, Trapper? Used to have one of them when I was going to school. It's been a minute, though. Black Diamond in the building. And our guy, Brian Hendren, here with us, live and direct. Just, good to always give Brian some love while he's here with us on the show. Normally, Brian's in the back, keeping the 1s and 2s in check. But today, Brian's going to help us up. Hey, Andre Barnes, what's going on? Daryl Gibson, what's going on? And Rowena Witt. Never seen you. Oh, from Gary, Indiana. Right on, Rowena. Thanks for joining us.
Please give us a sub.
And thanks for joining us as well, Paul Rodriguez. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, man, we'll get it popping here today. I'll throw it over to my guy, C Sharp. Chris, what do you got to say, my brother?
Man, it's good to be here. Good to be seen and not viewed. Welcome to everybody in the chat. It's good to see you guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Please smash that like button. Hit the subscriptions and the notifications. Don't forget to share the content. I'm out here front and center with you guys today. It's good to see Brian and the Bishop. Of course, my guy, Keds, and one and only Nomad. Let's have some fun today, guys.
Yo, what is going on with everybody in the chat today? Thank you so kindly for joining us. No Maniac Sports Zoners, what it is today, y'all. We're going to talk Bears football. Yes, we are. To my diehard faithfuls that are always paying attention but not able to get in the chat, you know who you are, but I'm going to shout you out anyway. Stuart and Sophie out there in Florida. My boy V-Dub in D-Town. Rita, Felicia, my SIU clan, and then my new business partner who chimed in, Miss Rowena Witt. Thank you so much for chiming in today and checking us out. To my guys on the panel, as always, we about to chop it up. We about to get into it. It's wonderful to be on there with you guys today. It's Thursday, Throwback Thursday for some, Thirsty Thursday for others. Either way, we going to have some fun. Brian, what it be, my brother?
Well, I'm doing dandy, Keith. I got some big shoes to fill. You know, the super back. Hope he enjoys the game. Go Sox, I guess. I'm not much of a
Hey,
Sox
hey, hold
fan.
on, Brian.
Oh,
Hey, hold on, Brian. Let's get a thought or two about your new background, man. Let's see what the people in the chat think about your new background. They haven't seen you that.
Yeah, he got some new digs.
Yeah, Brian got an upgrade at the crib.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I got a big screen TV and a picture window that I can look out in the cornfield because we know there isn't much on TV these days, so I can watch corn grow. It's not easy being a hick in the sticks, but
so at least I know I can tell you to go run backwards in that field if I'm angry at you.
All right, gentlemen. Since we got Brian on the show right now and for today, man, we're gonna have to kind of maneuver around with the chat. So when you hear the next person talking, man, just pick up in the chat for me, Kids and Brian, man. But let's get into it, man. Let's dig right on in, man, because I got some news and notes right now. Just a couple things, and I'll pause after I read each one because I don't know how everybody feels about. Like, there's a couple of guys I got like right off the top. I don't think we got to this yesterday. Somebody, please grab the chat. But I don't know if we got to this yesterday on the show. I think we did this in the green room. But Jadeveon Clowny is going to the Panthers. 2 years, $20 million. What's interesting to note, it doesn't surprise me because I know he's from Rock Hill, South Carolina. There could have been other offers. It could have been Bears offers that offered him probably similar to the same. But, you know, at this point in someone's career, he's about 30, maybe 30 years old, pushing 31. You know, most players want to see if they can get that contract near their hometown, you know, and Rock Hill, South Carolina is about as close as you can get to Charlotte, North Carolina, I think. But, yeah, but go ahead. What do you guys think about Jadeveon Clowny, kids?
Yeah, one of those guys I was hoping we would be able to see towards the end of toward the end of free agency on the cheap. Looks like somebody decided to spend big bucks on him. That somebody being the Panthers. Real talk. They needed to spend big bucks on a guy like that. And I'm just being completely frank. They're the worst team in the NFL last year. I'm sure, you know, the guy, their homegrown guy, didn't want to have anything to do with them. I'm sure they had to, unfortunately, you know, really dig a little bit deeper into the pockets than they wanted to get an older vet in to replace Brian Bird. So, you know, I'm not very surprised by it. It's a bit of a desperation move by them. You know, he would have been a great guy for us to grab at about 50% of that price tag, which is really what I was hoping for, right? Like I'm talking 12, 13 mil, maybe 1 year prove it deal. I think that would be commensurate for what we're trying to do here in Chicago. Unfortunately, you know, he's decided to sign elsewhere, and I say unfortunately, but definitely fortunately for him because you know, Clowny needed a desperate team to really get the big buck. He found one big time, right? So there it is. But Chris,
well, you know what? I was kind of hoping that we would put something on the other side of Montez. And I guess it came down to Clowny and probably Mike Dana as the only named guys that was left. But
speaking of Dana, I'm keeping my eye on him. You got any news on him?
No, I haven't heard anything yet on Mike Dana. I know our cap situation has dwindled, so anybody in double digits as far as 10, 11 million a year, probably not going to happen for us. But you know, it would have been nice to see Clowny there. I know that's your guy, Nomad, and he's still effective even at this point in his career. But it looks like we're going to go status quo until at least after the draft, and then that second wave of free agency after you see some cuts. I would expect we need to pick up somebody, unless you know we pick up a guy in the draft, which is really what I'm looking at number 9 at. I know we're going to get to that, but.
Go ahead, Keith.
Well, I'll say this, man. Just imagine that with regard to Clowny ending up at the Panthers, who always seem to either make the wrong decision, they just seem to like to overpay. Either way, he won yesterday. So with that being said, I'm not mad at him. I'm happy for the gentleman. He got his bag because, as my man King Booker World said a little earlier, you know, he was about that scratch. So he got his scratch now. We're going to keep it moving, though. It would have been nice for him to be on the team, but since he didn't, You know, and since it seemed like Poles is into bringing people back, he brought back Dante Pettis. Maybe he might bring Yannick back. Maybe, maybe not. We won't know until after the draft, it looks like. But either way, hey, I'm happy for that man. You know, go do your thing over there with the Panthers, Clowny, because you guys are probably winning, what, 4 games this year? But it's all good. Brian, what you think?
Well, hey, congratulations to Clowny getting his money. I think Carolina overpaid. I'm glad the Bears didn't. They got a set amount of cap by June 1st. I think there's another cut, and they could probably free up, if you want to talk Larry Borum, uh, Homer, Travis Homer, maybe even Blasting Game. And there's somebody else that I can't think of that would give them like another $6-7 million roughly.
Probably Dominique
Remember,
Robinson, somebody.
Yeah, that may be him because he's a big nothing.
$2.5 million is his cap number.
I was just gonna say he's still on rookie deals, but yeah, go ahead, Brian.
If you remember, they signed Yannick just shortly before camp, if not the first week of camp. I expect the same because, like I said, they can increase their cap. There's going to be teams every year. There's a player that gets, pardon my language, pissed off because they ain't getting paid enough and want to get traded. So there's that option with teams getting draft picks and all like that. They may, bump a vet. And right now, that may be the way for Chicago to go because they're such a young team, depending on what position you're talking about. So I wouldn't worry too much about Bears not signing anybody right off the bat. Once we get talking more and drafting all like that, I'm going a different route than trying to find an edge for Montez because, the last 6 weeks of the season, the Bears defense, if they wasn't number one, they was definitely in the top 5. And that may be good enough to get you in the playoffs.
Well,
I'm done.
All right. Well, since we're talking about DNs, Cornelius mentioned Cornelius Squalls. Shout out to Cornelius. Asked if Justin Houston is still available. I do believe so. Cornelius. The cupboard isn't bare. You heard Chris mention Mike Dana, another solid piece. Justin Houston, haven't seen a drop off in him yet. And I know he's like 33, 34 years old. And you ignore
he's my age.
Right. I mean, hey man, I'll let Santa Claus play if he wants to, long as there's a drop off. Hey man,
suit me up, coach.
So here's the thing, man. I am still concerned about DN, but I do think there's a couple of nice pieces still left out there. And it's bargain basement, but there's still high value in their performance, what they produce on the field. And so I like the idea of Justin Houston or Mike Dana right now. But let's switch topics over to receiver. A receiver I've been keeping my eye on. I don't know if anybody else has, but
wait a second before we jump over to wide receiver. Do you guys want to talk a little about Yannick and the potential of him coming back?
I know who doesn't want to talk about that.
Yeah, me too. Let's let him shine.
Come back very cheap.
Take over, man. Go let him go.
Listen, I mean, Yannick. We did the Yannick experiment. Yannick's 28. He still has, that's still a viable number, but he's coming off an injury, and I'm of the thinking Yannick's he's going to want premium money. At least what he signed for last year was $10 million. I'm not going to give Yannick. Well, because he believes, and probably some others, that he's still a premium piece. And the Yannick experiment, to me, it came and it failed. I'd rather put that money in a Mike Dana or, somebody that Yannick just didn't do it for me.
Chris, you can't literally say that.
I just said it.
Upgrade from Yannick Ngakoue, man.
Yannick Ngakoue didn't show me. I at this point, I'd rather wait and see what Dominique Robinson can do through camp. I mean, there are other guys out there. Mike Dana, Brad Nanai, he's 26. I mean, there's some other guys out there. Rasheem Green's still out there. We thought Rasheem would make the team last year.
Well,
Right? Carl Lawson, he's still there. Shaq Lawson's still there. Charles Harris from West Virginia, he's still there. He played with Detroit last year. These are all guys that are on this side of 30, the right side of 30.
Hey, Chris, you know what? I'm glad you just mentioned that name because I think it's more likely than not if somebody doesn't pick up Rasheem Green, he returns. I like what he put on the field.
Could. He could. He didn't play terrible.
No, he didn't.
I mean, but, he's going to come in at a vet minimum, and that's a guy that you bring in. I think there's a good chance they will bring him back in after the draft, for training camp. That's why Dominic Robinson's not going anywhere until final cuts, unless he just shows absolutely nothing. There's no reason to cut him right now. I mean, you still got training camp to go through. It's not like they need that $2 million cap hit that he's, So there's some options, but I don't want to guarantee Yannick Ngakoue any money at this point. We still have the draft. We don't know what they're going to do with that. At 9, there's a good chance they can get one of the 2 or 3 premium rushers there. So,
let me rephrase where we were, right? So if we get beyond the draft and we haven't, and Poles hasn't addressed defensive end edge rusher position, that other, the other side of that defensive line, would you be more inclined to take a look at Yannick again?
He's asking you, Chris.
Too many other options. We took a 10-month look at him last year, and I did. I just didn't see the payoff. Now here on Spot Track, they're saying Michael Dana's calculated market value is still $16.7 million.
Really?
And there's no way at this point he's going to get that type of money. Especially, he is a young guy. I'm not sure what he did as far as stats.
No, I don't know. What did San Francisco do to replace Chase Young? See, there you go.
Chase got 13, didn't he?
Right, they got to replace that though.
Yeah, but not at that price tag. Like their cap is a bit of an issue over there. If you really think about it, they're paying big money for Christian McCaffrey and the 2 wide receivers, Ayuk and Debo. They're paying pretty quality money. I haven't even touched on the defensive side. So I think in this scenario, he's just simply a cap casualty. They'll live without replacing. I don't know how else it shakes out in San Francisco besides
Dante
that.
Purify says Jake Martin is a player at edge. He's Ngakoue's replacement. And that very well may be the case. We still have to turn to player development. That's always the forgotten part of the equation, is that we get guys, and they're just not camp bodies, but we depend on these coaches. Eric Washington, we've always said, best D-line coach in the league. Hey, that's what we brought him in for, to develop some guys. So he may very well turn into that.
And you know what?
We're not used to that in Chicago. Player development has been such a poor thing for this franchise for years. We've had either a draft high and get a player, or go out in free agency and draft a guy who's already proven.
So real quick, man, let me speak to this because to Dante Purify's point, if there was a surprise that I saw this offseason in the acquisitions that we made when I started, because can't lie to you, can't hold you, was not really, I didn't know who Jacob Martin was. I can't lie to you until we got him. And I went to the tape, went to the film, and that was probably the most pleasant surprise I've seen this offseason in any acquisition that we made. Anybody that wants to take a little bit of time and check this guy out. I don't really know. I think he's been on teams that kind of have, hampered his growth. He just didn't get the right opportunity to really grow like he could. But oh my Lord, his tape is outstanding. He's a blur off the line of scrimmage. He's kind of toolsy for a guy that's only in his 4th year. You know what I'm saying? So I think we got a steal there. I really think his upside is high. And I'm glad Dante brought that up, man, because I'm telling you, his tape is pretty shocking. If you like, I didn't know what to expect, but when I saw what I saw, I was very impressed with Jacob Martin. So I just had to put that out there before we make a quick turn, because we got a couple more names to get to that I've been keeping my eye on. These are two receivers, and I'll just mention them both at the same time. We'll all just kind of chop it up and talk about them. Josh Reynolds goes to the Broncos, and of course Cordell Patterson goes to the Steelers, and that just kind of make my cheeks clench a little bit, because they're kind of retooling and reloading and looking pretty good right now. But Kez, what do you think about those two signings, Josh Reynolds and Cordell Patterson?
Sorry, I'm just a little worried about your cheeks.
No.
Outside of that,
not even the visual. Not even the visual.
No, that's where my head was. In any event, CP3 is my guy, man. I love that guy. I really do. Hated the fact that he left this team. Loved that. How about them Bears? It was such an iconic little thing for him. Let alone his effect on the field. So much more for him to do out there, in my opinion, in the NFL. He got scooped up immediately after the change in the kickoff. The way the kickoff rule has been flipped over. Folks believe right off the bat that he's going to be instrumental when it comes to the return game moving forward. There are other players just like that, to be honest with you. And if you really look at the way that this new kickoff shapes up, they're kind of putting the players right up against each other so that there's no, that gunner case scenario is basically gone. There's no gunner anymore, which is something I love Cordell Patterson for, right? I love the fact that he was probably not only the most likely guy to run a kick back, but he's also the first human being on the other side of the field when we're kicking. I don't think you're going to see that gunner anymore. And if that's the truth, you kind of got a guy gaining momentum and with good field vision now and the ability to make it around whatever little scrum is sort of set up in front of him. This is going to be an interesting situation, and I have to say, we're probably in store for a bunch of, I'll be completely frank, a bunch of breakouts by way of special teams this season with the change. Cordell Patterson isn't really a breakout. It'll just be par for the course of more of the same for him. He's that good. But a guy like Velus Jones, for instance, who I don't necessarily always talk about in a positive light, I could see a guy like Velus Jones really owning, really taking advantage of this. Laviska Shenault, for instance, on a completely separate team. Just a good field vision, good hands, and speed case scenario. Simba Webster, again, who's also, is he still on our squad? I think he's still somehow
he's
on
the squad.
I think so. Again, he's really good at this stuff too. Players like that, I think you're going to see a heck of a lot more from in this coming season.
So,
well, go ahead, man.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Cordell, he's still that kind of toolsy player that you can do a lot of stuff. This whole kickoff modification, I don't know what to think of it. I know player safety is at the root of it, but I think it's probably going to make the game more exciting, I think.
I don't know if it's players. I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't know if it's really, they may say it's player safety. The way that it looks to me, I guess it's a little bit of both. It will add much more points by way of special teams. It actually will bring the kick game to a different place. The safety piece is really, again, you just don't have human beings running full tint, just blowing people up, which is like my son's favorite part of football. You know what I mean? Just catch a guy sleeping on that return and blow his day up. We're not going to see stuff like that moving forward in the NFL. And at the same time, if it's successful and we do see a lot more returns, we'll see if this actually gets adopted at other levels.
I still think we'll see some of that. They're just not going to have the same amount of run up I mean, they're going to have the same amount of momentum. But, it could be a good thing. I haven't watched enough XFL to know how it works, but I think you'll see a lot more returns for touchdowns. And anything that adds excitement to the game, I guess I'm for. I'm a traditionalist at heart, so I don't like fooling with the rules too much. But we'll see how it works.
Well, sorry.
Let me whiz this turn right quick because we do got a bunch to get to, kids, if you don't mind. But what is it?
No, it's cool.
All right. Because this is just a personal note I wanted to put out there, a guy that I've been kind of keeping my eyes on to see if he would be able to come back healthy and get out here and touch the free agent market, get his release to hit the market, and that's J.K. Dobbins, running back from Baltimore, who just got the healthy release from the doctors, and he's already out there in L.A. With Harbaugh and Greg Roman, who he played with in Baltimore, averaged about 5 yards a pop. Just looking at him on film, I hope that limp in his giddy up is fixed, because I think it almost looked like I didn't see him being able to come back and be full speed. He's probably out of 10. He looks probably about 7.5 after the ACL injury he came back from. But now he's coming off of an Achilles now. But if he's healthy and 100% with no setbacks, that's a guy I wouldn't mind, taking a good look at. You need backup. You know what I mean? We don't know what's going to happen with Khalil Herbert. And it's just a little side note that I wanted to throw in there. If anybody got something to say about it, go right ahead. But I just wanted to touch on that before we move. Anybody?
Well, I will say, like, I don't trust any of the Baltimore Ravens running back case scenario over the last few years. I'm not Gus Edwards, not J.K. Dobbins. Neither one of those guys really, they're a run first team and have been for quite some time. And those guys haven't really taken the most advantage of that. Now, a lot of that is due to injury. Let's be completely frank and clear. Both of those two running backs have been injured back to back, on and off, for the last couple of years. That also doesn't bode well for him moving forward. So if it was me, I'd dodge him like the plague. I'll be completely frank about that. Just me. If I was a Bears GM, I would not want to have anything to do with that. I would say Khalil Herbert is much more reliable at the very least as a backup. If we have issues with Khalil and his performance, that's one thing. But most definitely, I'd have to say he's much more reliable than either one of those guys coming out of Baltimore.
I wish Dobbins the best, man, in regards to his health, but hopefully he lands somewhere nice. I don't think we need him we definitely don't need him with the Bears at all. I think we're fine with our running back room, how I see it. I just, I just hope that the young man finds a landing spot and can stay healthy for a full season. That's my hope for him.
It was just a personal note for me because I've been keeping my eye on him since he came out. He's only had, I think, one season where he might have got 9-10 games in. He's just been jacked up the whole time he's been in the league, and I just thought highly of him. It was just something, personal for me. I had to throw it out there because I like the kid.
Nomad, he's a good player, man.
Oh, yeah.
But given his injury history, there is a guy still on the market that we haven't looked at that I think would add, that has much less of an injury history. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh, yeah.
He's still on the market, man. And that brother's only 24 years old. So, I know he was injured. He kind of lost his spot to Isaiah Pacheco. But, as far as a dual threat, I love that kid at LSU. And then he got that injury. But he's still out there, and he's not going. He wouldn't cost you a ton of money. So, I don't think Khalil Herbert will be on this time next year. I don't think he'll be on the roster.
No, he won't.
And that's fair. Like I think they'll probably move away from Khalil by then. But given the our status right now with only 4 picks, unless that somehow changes. We're not going to be able to invest in a running back in the draft.
Hold on, Kevin Woodall. welcome to the show. I haven't seen you here before, but welcome to the family.
Said Clyde
You
is
said
soft.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is soft. Man, show me tough. That's a tough little dude right there.
How about I'm gonna show you tough, bro. I'm gonna show you tough. His name is Isaiah Pacheco. He's an undrafted free agent who took that guy's job.
Well,
That's my problem with free
That doesn't mean he's soft now. Come on.
No,
No, but
that
here's
was
what it
all-
means. It means he's softer than the other guy who runs hard as all get out. Like
No,
that's
I don't
what
think it does. I don't think it does, kids. You say players never lose their jobs to injury, and we know that's not true. Isaiah Pacheco was given a chance, and he made the most of it. I liked Isaiah Pacheco at Rutgers. I mean, I scouted him and who's the wideout at Green Bay? They both
Bo Melton?
Yeah, Bo Melton. I scouted both of those at Rutgers. Matter of fact, Bo Melton's brother is a cornerback coming out in this draft. He's a good player too. So Isaiah Pacheco. It didn't surprise me that he took the job and kept it. I don't think that's shows that Edwards-Helaire was soft. It just because the brother's not soft, man. He's a little bowling ball. He can catch the ball and runs hard. He just got hurt and he lost his job because of injury.
Kevin, I think that's pretty much all. Kevin Woodall, hey, shout out to you again. I think that's pretty much it, man. I think the injury bug, like they say, availability is the best ability.
Yeah,
I think that's more or less the problem with Clyde. I think he's a high quality running back if he can stay healthy, man. So that's just what I believe in the kid. But let's get to some of this pro day stuff, man, because
let's get to it.
Because Michael Penix, man, let me tell you something, man. That dude just ran a 4.46. I had no idea he was that fleet of foot. I knew he could move a little bit. No, I didn't know he was that fast. No. I didn't. I don't know who knew that, but I did not know that guy. I mean, he was rolling. You understand me? I mean, rolling. I mean, I seen that 40. I was like, hold up. Right. I watched this right before that. I watched this vertical, and he looked like he had a bag of groceries around his waist or something. But then he got on that 40, man. Ooh, man, that dude was rolling, man.
Yeah. So much for a guy with 2 ACLs, right?
You don't even look like he's moving fast.
Things, man. You can run in a straight line and have bad ACLs now.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, whether it's straight line, whether it's lateral, again, so much. I mean, the boy got wheels.
Oh yeah, no
boy
question.
Got wheels.
Just a left-handed quarterback, and I say that. I say that, and I saw him throwing. He was throwing the ball at the combine in the hallway outside of the field, and man, he just had zip on the ball. I like him. I like Michael Penix. I'm not sure that he'll be able to get if he'll go in the first round, but yeah, he ran like he was on fire.
He don't even look like he's moving fast here. This is just power. Look at him go. Oh, I see where he picks up acceleration as he's going.
Oh,
he ran through it
right here. Oh, do you see it? Like right there, he just jumps.
Yeah, my track background, I see. If you notice how he stays low within the first 20-25 yards.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Everybody.
Yeah, as soon as he picks up, boom, right there. You see it?
Those are track techniques right there. You can tell he worked out with a track coach. Yeah, so
that's how you're supposed to do it, baby.
But that really surprised me. I didn't know he.
That's my sleeper.
He can roll, man, and that's gonna bode well for his draft stock moving forward.
His draft stock just jumped.
That's my sleeper in the draft right there. That's my sleeper.
Yeah, loved it, man. How about this Jaden Daniels, man? Here's a cool thing he did. Cool ass thing.
Let's get to it.
He wore a long sleeve shirt with his teammates' number. I think his name and number on it. His teammate had I forgot what position. It might be a linebacker or something. But he's got a brain tumor, and he's going through something really traumatic right now. He dedicated his whole pro day to him. And I was listening to I didn't listen to anything. I was reading an article from his coach. The head coach was just like, man, that dude is so teammate first, man. That's what he thinks about. The minute he walks in the door is his teammates, talking about Jaden Daniels. And, just the way that played out, Keith's going to tell you guys in a second, a little bit of a inside story, a layered story to even more of what happened during Jaden Daniels' pro day. But I just thought that was cool, man. He came out there with his teammate on his heart first and went out there and performed in honor of him, man, a guy who probably he may not make it that much longer. You know, he's got a tumor on his brain. So
his teammate's name is Greg Brooks Jr. I'm not sure what position he's playing.
But go ahead, Keith. You had a little bit more layered information.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody knows how the pro days are set up. Typically, your coaches, each position coach has input on the pro day depending on those that are participating. For the quarterback, typically it's the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach that helps put everything together and sit down with the quarterback and go over essentially what they're going to demonstrate, what they're going to focus on at the pro day. Yesterday, young Mr. Jaden Daniels organized and controlled the entire pro day, not just for himself, the entire pro day. The young man wanted to demonstrate that he is definitely a leader of men, but more importantly, what they did not know and learn that this is what he does during practice every single day as well throughout the season. So this young man takes control and makes sure that he is every part of the offense of LSU while he was there at quarterback. And he demonstrated it yesterday during his pro day as well. So if anybody has any question about whether or not this young man is a leader of men and why that locker room galvanizes around him, that's why. He's a leader of men. He believes in being first one in, last one out, but he likes to be held accountable, and he believes in holding his teammates accountable as well. So just a little tidbit.
Anybody else want to touch on that? But by the way, the Bears did not. From my understandings is they did not meet with him, or have. I think the pro day might be over by now, and reports were they were not meeting with him. Somebody asked that in the chat earlier. I just had that on my mind.
They met with him at the combine.
They met with him extensively at the combine, and I have an idea why, but it's gonna be good.
Go ahead, kid.
I'm interested in what your idea is, Keith. Where's your head at?
Don't even get
we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go
there.
there.
All right.
We're not gonna go there.
Man, I just noticed Makai. Just to move things a little bit sideways here, I just noticed Makai Wingo ran a 4.46.
That's a big man moving.
That's a big DT, and I think that's if I'm trying to look at what Braden Fisk did at the combine, but I think it's very similar. That's huge for him. Yeah, I didn't even have him, on any kind of DT list. But if you can move like that, that changes. It doesn't look like he plays at that speed. But I'll be fair with Braden Fisk as well. It didn't look like he played at that speed either when I scouted either one of them. But if Wingo's moving like that, I think he may have just made a little bit more extra noise for himself. But back to Mr. Daniels, throws were decent. Some folks out there hated the pro day, didn't like it. I liked it. I thought he again showed his leadership. I thought he made some decent throws. The real comparison that I'm going to make between all of these quarterbacks and Caleb Williams is really just arm talent and what it looks like. What does your throwing motion look like? I still lean more towards a Caleb Williams. He seems to be a little bit more, I don't even know what you use. Dynamic is the word I'm going to use just by way of arm talent. But the kid hit all, he hit all the needed throws. Like I don't have anything really negative to say about JD. I do think, I do think that as a leader, he showed up as well, especially sort of given what Keith just laid out there for you. He took on the whole role when things would, when they take a pause, he was the guy who was like, all right, we'll just take a minute and sort of go over where we're going to, what we're going to do next. All right, let's do it. And that was interesting to see. Whereas at the USC Pro Day, it was clearly sort of controlled by those two gentlemen who were holding clipboards. Like they were kind of running the show.
I'll tell you something, man. I'll tell you what I came away impressed with Jaden Daniels. I watched all of his throws. What's impressive to me is matchup with the film and the way he looked, his form out there on his pro day, it matched all the way up, man.
Yes.
Presence in there, man. It's exactly
Consistency.
Yes,
he looked like C.J. Stroud.
Yes, that's
He
where you
remi-
A lot like C.J. Stroud,
looked
actually.
Ball
C.J.
placement and
Stroud.
everything.
And I went back.
I'll let y'all say it and not me.
Well, I went back and looked at more of his
He did.
tape, because when I looked at his tape the last time, it was before the Bears had traded Justin. And so I was concentrating more on Maliknabors and Brian Thomas Jr. But you know what? Jaden Daniels, he looks, and I had heard somebody say his pro day wasn't that well, and I went and looked at it, man. He missed one or two deep balls, but I mean that doesn't,
Who don't miss?
people,
Who don't? Who
I
don't miss
know
those?
exactly. It didn't mean anything to me. So, and Keith, I know exactly where you're headed. I mean, I cannot get the value of the number one pick out of my head. The value plus a good quarterback. And so, I'm not going to go any farther than that, but the Bears do have options with the first pick.
Hold on, Illy Jones, man. You gotta watch a little closer, man. He is dead accurate, man. His ball placement is exactly like C.J. Stroud, man. Seriously, Illy, just had to combat that thought for you.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
I'm gonna
it's a very good comp.
I'm going to grab some stats, and I'm not talking numbers. I'm just talking how he looked. And I know it's a year later, but I think Nomad can vouch for me. When last year I liked C.J. Stroud better than everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I liked him. Him and Hendon Hooker. I will say this: Hendon Hooker was the guy I was really crazy about, and he got hurt. But Hendon Hooker and C.J. Stroud were the two quarterbacks for me last year.
Hey, Chris, you said you're going to grab some numbers, right? How about this? 72%, a little over 72% completion ratio. 40 I believe it was 40 touchdowns to 4 interceptions for the season, something to that nature. You can check that just to make sure I'm correct on that, but he only had 4 interceptions the entire season last year. So I think he's pretty doggone accurate. And he played in the SEC.
Yeah, that says a lot.
So here's and I'm not sure, like, take this as you will is probably the best thing I'll say. He does, I think Stroud is the best comp because that's who he reminded me of as well. Here's my fear. My fear is, like, is this quarterback being propped up by two of the best wide receivers in the nation? And that's sort of where my headspace is right now with him. Like, those two wide receivers are amazing. And sometimes it's a little bit of both.
I
just sort of want to
affect his interception rate. You have to look at his interception rate.
It's a good place.
You can't be a great wide receiver without having a pretty good doggone quarterback, and you can't be a pretty doggone good quarterback with having some pretty doggone good wide receivers. You got to have both. You can't have one or the other. So that whole thing. No,
I've seen either and or. I've seen either and or. I have.
You've seen the and or, but then in the end, with the and the or, do they win? Kids?
Even that metric, I like interceptions is probably the best metric to
and
to
this
look
young
at
man, I think, is this year's Heisman Trophy winner, right? And I know that's a popularity contest to some, but he did win the Heisman this year, right?
Yes, he did.
And what conference did he play in again? SDC.
Well,
So what's that level of competition compared to other conferences? Come on now.
We've been over that one. We've been over that one. Let me address something. Illinois Jones. He said he watched all the tape, and I believe you did, man. I could tell he's a football watcher. He watches film. I can just tell by some of the nuanced answers he gives. So I can tell that about Illinois Jones. And he asked me who I thought was a better, who had more upside. I think that's what he asked. It's something like that.
Between who and who?
Between Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud threw for 66% of his passes his senior year.
Right.
He never threw for 72%.
I don't think
really good comp, guys.
Yes, it is. That's what you keep seeing over and over. And the more and more you watch his film, you see a lot of C.J. Stroud. That's the comparison you get. But if I had to give one and a nudge up, And it's a small nudge. It's just because Jaden Daniels has more mobility. That's the only difference I would say was a difference between them. It's just he's just a little bit more slick and moves a little bit faster than C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud can move, but not quite as fluid as Jaden Daniels. So that would be the only difference to me.
No, this is a really good comp, and why I'm saying this is that CJ came out of a program where, again, he had two really good wide receivers, right? Like, it's a pretty even Steven if we're looking at college numbers. And I think, Chris, this is a viable exercise for us to do and maybe present at a later date. I'm really looking at those two quarterbacks themselves and getting an understanding as to what we might be able to expect, what folks may be able to expect from a Jaden Daniels coming out.
Kids, I'm sorry, I want to interrupt everybody for a moment here because I want to direct something to Mr. Illinois Jones. Hey man, don't curse at me, brother.
Don't.
No, wait.
Don't. He just let him.
I'm just but no, we're gonna correct it and understand it.
I don't think he's cussing at you. I think he used a curse word to make it.
Okay, well, you can make your point more eloquently than that if you're intelligent. Carry on, guys.
Hey, Chris, let's get to a station ID on the other side. We'll check out the actual conversations and the visits they have at the combine, and also their 30 visits, their official 30 visits that are out now.
All right.
The best Chicago Bears content anywhere. Catch Nomad Live pregame 1 hour prior to kickoff, and Nomad at Night postgame, and every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Central on all the most popular streaming platforms, and only on the Nomad Network.
That is right, you guys, man. Please get those likes up. I don't know how many we have, but I know it's never nearly enough with how many people are live in the chat. So just please, for a second, pause and hit the like. And if you're new to the channel, if this is your first time visiting here, welcome to the family. We would greatly appreciate it if you consider subscribing to the channel, man. I think we put out some pretty good content. I think we're worth it, and we'd appreciate the subscription, because we are on a hard push to get to 2,000 and beyond. And so anything right about now would help us. It'd be nice to look after the show and see 30, 40 new subs in there, but that's pushing it a little bit. But all we can get, we will take and be glad for them. So again, let's talk about some of these those visits at the combine, because there's some names in there that I didn't even know of, Chris. Okay, so according to Ian Rappaport, they visited with Jaden Daniels at the combine. Didn't know that happened. Of course, they had a 15-minute meeting with Caleb Williams. I don't know if I heard about Jared Verse. I may or may not have. Liate Latu.
Drake was 10.
What's that?
Caleb's meeting was 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes. Liatu, he came and visited with him. Drake May, X-Worthy. I like that. Jatavion Sanders, like that. I like that too. Joe Alt, Olu Fashanu. For all these people that may be listening to an audio platform, I'm just calling them out loud. And for those who might not be able to see the screen, Olu Fashanu, J.J. McCarthy met. Rome Odunze met with the Bears, and so did Zach Frazier. And so, guys, any of these names up here, I don't know if there's a name up here that surprises you, but you want to talk about any of those guys, go right ahead.
Well, Drake, I know North Carolina's pro day is today. I don't think the Bears, I don't think Ryanpoles is there. I don't know if he's in a contingent, but I'm pretty sure Ryanpoles is not there.
No, I think
he said he was not going.
It was the offensive. It was the quarterback coach.
Poles.
He did send a contingent.
Oh, but Drake May, no, he said he was sending a quarterback coach.
Yeah, he's sending the quarterback coach. He says he had another engagement and unfortunately could not commit to going to take a peek. That being the case, I'm fine with that. I'm super stoked that they talked to Xavier Worthy, though. That actually hypes me up a little bit, considering he's the only wide receiver on this little bit. Oh, my bad. There's 2 wide receivers on this list. We got Roma Dunze too. Those, yeah. I really. Man.
So, kids, the chat is wondering why there's Zach Frazier at center instead of JPJ. I think the truth, man. I think Zach got better tape. I think.
Well, I think because of draft position. I mean,
yeah, that's it.
JPJ's projected going to first round, and I hope they don't spend number 9 on a center. Not saying the guy's not good, but I think you can get better value later in the draft. So, and Frazier, the way he's risen, I don't know that he lasts much longer than the top of the second round.
So, Cornelius,
I don't.
Cornelius, just wait a minute, Cornelius. You'll be surprised on this next one, man. I think the 30 visits are a little bit more interesting. But, kids, you want to talk on some of this before we go?
I'm actually pretty hype about exactly these players that they looked at. The wide receivers are very interesting to me because Rome would be at the 9, Xavier would be a little bit further back. If you miss out on Rome, Xavier is probably target number 2, and I think that's brilliant. He's not an X receiver, but this kid gets separation and he can take the top off. I think he, man. Tyler Scott, I would hate to be you if they get him because you guys do similar things. Outside of that, Jared Verse, Latu, those are again 2 guys you're going to see at that 9 pick if they're available. I would not be surprised if these are the 2, 1 or 2 guys that we see at that other edge rusher spot. I'm happy with this. I'm glad that they spoke to each and every one of these kids.
So, by the way, before we flip to the 30 visits, Rome did not perform at Washington, who was having their pro day today as well. He did not perform, and I don't blame him. He stood on his combine performance, which was pretty damn good.
That was enough.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't blame him for doing that. There's just an extra unnecessary opportunity to hurt yourself or pull something, and it's not worth it, man. I think he did quite enough at the combine. So I'll just say that before we flip over to these 30 visits. And then after that, we're going to get into the number 9 pick and why it's so valuable and whether or not we should keep it. But let's look at these 30 visits first. All right, let me get this off the screen. So 30 visits went according to Albert Breer. It's set up for Caleb Williams. That's this month sometime, probably
next week.
First thing next week, yep. Kieran, I am not going to butcher his name. Kid, you know a better way. You know how to say that.
Mega DJ.
Okay, Kieran. He visited with the Bears. For those who don't know, he's an OT from Yale, and he's got some pretty good tape, man. Some nice measurables and some really good traits about him that you can grow this young man into something real decent, man. And you just go check him out, Kieran. AME Mega DG from Yale. Check him out. Offensive tackle, left tackle from Yale. Tom Pelissero also reports Dallas Turner is scheduled to visit the Bears, among others. Brock Bowers, according to Tony Pauline, cornerback Nehemiah Pritchett, he's a nice zone cornerback, good size, good length. And
he ran a sub 4.3, didn't he?
I think he ran him, 4.3.
He ran right at a 4.3. So I mean, he's got the name Nehemiah Pritchett. Did that sound like somebody can run fast?
I remember a dude that
he didn't.
Nehemiah.
He didn't.
Ronaldo Nehemiah.
So
I was thinking
Elijah Jones, cornerback from Boston College, who I have to revisit his tape because I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I remember watching him, and he has some pretty decent tape. I just got to go take a good look at it again. And I'll be able to report to you guys tomorrow and tell you a little bit more about Elijah Jones. But so those are your 30 visits, man. I like the names on this list. It's kind of, I don't know. I guess you got 2 quarterbacks on here. Well, 1 quarterback, got an OT, you got a defensive end, you got a tight end, and 2 corners. And so it gives you an idea of where they might be what they might be thinking somewhere around 9 or even the next pick. And so I just like that list of guys. Go ahead, Keith.
I think what we need to make sure that we clear up and emphasize to everybody, there's going to be more names added to that list
Oh yeah.
as well.
yeah.
So that's just right now those that they've had the opportunity to communicate with. There's still other pro days going on, so they'll have
There might
opportunity
even
to.
be an upgraded list right now. That's the one we
Yeah,
got.
no, I'm just saying this is just the beginning of it of their list. They're going to add more names to that list because again, typically it's the top 30 guys on their draft board. That's how that list came about. So that what that really means. So trust and believe they're going to add more guys. They just trying to get to the pro days, and check out guys and from based off of that information. And they're still going through film evaluation on these players as well. So take it easy, everybody. That list will expand. You may see some more names or hear some names that will end up at Hallis Hall for visits as well, that are on your own personal draft boards as well. So,
Brian, you wanna speak on that 30 visit or anybody on there that you were surprised
Well,
to see?
as far as the list, yeah, it's pretty good. The only Brock Bowers to me is a luxury, and with 4 picks, I'm for getting a tight end, and yeah, he's the best tight end, but he's not the one that I want, if that makes sense.
That's
Also,
a due diligence visit.
Yeah. Also with this 30 visit thing, remember, I think Chicago only they draft 3 or 4 guys from the 30 visits. So it's not like it's set in stone. It's also lion season. So I mean, they may want, yeah, we'll take a look at this guy to make another team think that they're getting. I mean, who knows? But right now we can throw darts at the dartboard, and none of us is going to have a wrong answer until it's draft time.
Yeah, that's kind of the modus operandi between now and then. I'll be honest with you. I didn't like that 30 visit list, to be honest with you. I thought it was a little bit odd. Brock Bowers, if he's there available for them at 9, then maybe maybe there is reason for them to take a look at him. They have talent at that particular position. Do we need another guy to develop? Yeah. Do you really want to pick him at 9, given the other holes on your offense and defense? I wouldn't suggest it, right? Like I wouldn't suggest it. So I found him a little bit odd. Dallas Turner, I find a little bit odd. Odds are, so first off, they did get a really close look at Dallas Turner already. I don't expect him to be there available at 9. It's possible, but I don't expect it. I expect somebody to grab themselves the top edge rusher, and at this present time, Dallas Turner is that guy. A lot of the other names on that list were a little bit like cornerbacks. What are we looking at cornerbacks for right now? Like,
They're
gonna always look at one.
They have to
they're
do
gonna
due
keep
diligence.
drafting them, man. He said that right out in the open, and I believe him. They're gonna keep drafting corners.
Yeah, but you got 4 picks.
Yeah, I mean,
we have 4.
You know what?
Let's just
are they going to look at a punter or a kicker?
How about we just get 4? How about we just get 4 cornerbacks this draft?
You may need to wrap your mind around one of those cornerbacks we just brought in last year, switching positions. You might have to just think about that a little bit.
And that's and even that is fine at this present time. In my opinion, we've got one too many. If Terrell's sitting on the bench, yeah, maybe push him over to free safety if that's something he can do. Even then, I just don't think they have the cachet of picks required to even remotely consider CB. If they're considering CB, and I'll be real about this, it should be with the 122nd pick, their final pick. No, I'm serious. I'm not even cracking jokes here. I'm being dead serious.
Jokes, man.
I'm not cracking jokes. Why would you wait?
He's serious, man.
You're going to pick a cornerback at 9? You're going to pick a cornerback at 9 with 4 picks. That's
serious. Can I say something, guys?
That's crazy talk.
The bigger question to me is, does anybody, and maybe I'll throw this to folks in the chat, is there still a possibility that we gain more picks?
There could be a trade.
There
could be a trade, a draft day trade, sign and trade, Jaylonjohnson. We don't know.
Well,
whoa,
Jaylon Johnson.
Whoa, pump the brakes.
Man,
Pump
everybody
the
needs to time out.
brakes.
Give me a second. Give me a
Wait.
second here. This
Woo!
man just said
Hold on, bro.
they're going to draft a
Hold
quarterback.
on, bro.
And then he
I'm
went into trading the quarterback we have to get another quarterback. That's just the
I'm getting
craziest
White
stuff.
Sox
I'm-
flashback.
Hold on,
I'm
hold
gonna
on,
pour
because
water on my
wait,
head.
guys. I think Nomad was asleep when we signed Jaylon Johnson to a 4-year contract.
I said
know
a
that-
sign and trade.
We're going to replace the
No,
cornerback
he's
that we signed
he's
for 4
already
years
signed,
with a rookie cornerback.
Sign and trade. You can do that at draft day too, brother.
You
With
can.
Jaylon Johnson?
Oh my Lord, help us. Help us.
You
You
Lord.
can.
You
But that's
can,
crazy. That's
Yes,
just
it
crazy.
would be.
Why
I
would
just
you
threw
do
it
that?
out there, man. Damn.
Well,
All right.
they're not going to trade
it's
him.
not
and accelerate.
it's not financially sound. It's a ridiculous
Accelerate.
idea.
Hey, look, we
Accelerate
talking
all
about
of his
Nomad,
contract.
man. We talking about
I
Nomad.
know.
So let's
I
not
know.
talk about. Remember, he said he don't care nothing about the purse. It ain't his money.
Well,
Y'all
it ain't about the money. It's about the cap space, because all that accelerates if we trade Jaylon Johnson. So I'm gonna
It's
stop.
it's not just like again.
I always call
we're-
you the one and only, Nomad. I'm gonna start
Hey,
calling
man,
you the
I
one
just
and
trying
only.
to think out the box, man. I'm just trying to think.
man,
I'm not saying
Way
that.
out the box.
Hey, let me be
That's
clear.
who,
I'm not
bro.
saying
I
there's-
believe in thinking outside the box, but you took
I
it way
don't
out the
think
box.
I don't think there's a likelihood, but there's an option there. He just asked.
Well, Nomad, can I ask you this? And let me
ahead.
ask folks in the chat. Given some of the recent things that have happened here in the last few days with Caleb and some of the oddities we've witnessed and some of the things that are being said, which in my mind doesn't affect a lot of what his ability, but I mean he's taken maybe a little bit of a hit as far as I don't know, from just a little bit of a hit, we'll say that. Are we still open to the possibility of the Bears trading their number 1 pick to number 2 and taking Jaden Daniels? Is that still a possibility? I want to focus that to the folks in the chat, because I know where you guys kind of stand on it.
I'd rather the guys in the chat answer that.
Yeah,
it's way in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to see how receptive they are to it, because I think everybody in the world right now is taking it for granted that we're going to draft Caleb Williams. And
I'm laughing at this stuff coming up, Chris, because it's like,
Trade.
no, nah, no,
See if somebody been pinching your bag, dog.
I'm just. Can we stop all this Jaden Daniels stuff? This is where we're at. No, we can't stop it. We're not pushing it. We're just putting it out there because it's out there.
Got to put it out there, man.
All right.
It's a draft. Anything can happen.
But we're already in the overtime, guys. Let me get to the meat and potatoes of what we came here to talk about, and that is what do we do at 9? Here's my strong position.
Cornerback.
I think the draft, especially in that portion, the top 10, 15 to 20 players, I think is too talented. I feel like as much as we need draft picks, I think the quality of the player is that much more valuable. And I think the top part of the draft and that number 9 pick is going to be extremely valuable. I think you pick a player there. I think it's probably somebody like Brian Thomas Jr., Romo Dunze, one of those tackles right there at 9 that I think is too strong right there in that region. As much as they probably want to collect some draft picks at that spot, I don't think they can. But I'll let everybody else opine on that and tell you what they think about it.
Go ahead, Cavs.
All right. Yeah, I don't. The strength of the draft basically flows from that position clear up to, I'm going to say, pick 50, top 50 picks. If it was me, I would, regardless as to the caliber of who's there, I would trade. I'm sorry, Viscount or Viscount Crypto 76. I'm sorry. I would trade out and I would find something, because I know the holes on this team, and getting one more hole filled with a pick in the second round is key. And that's my thoughts. If you can trade back a little bit, part to this. And the secondary reason for the trade back is that If you can trade back, before pick 19 or so, you're still in league to get yourself that edge rusher that you really need on the other side. If you can get an edge rusher and a wide receiver out of that pick number 9, I'm happy. That's like now you're cooking with gas on both sides of the line of scrimmage. That's really what I would rather have happen as opposed to settling for one or the other. I'd get both of them. And Xavier Worthy is likely going to be around a bit later on, maybe towards the beginning of the second round, maybe, perhaps. Maybe Brian Thomas Jr. slips. Doubtful, but again, possible. But the real thing is the edge rusher position. Once you get past Jared Verse, it becomes very hit and miss very quickly. Like those guys are gone very quickly. So I would like to get a guy like Verse or Latu, around pick 15, get a secondary pick, and then focus that on wide receiver. And I think we're in a really good place. Unfortunately, again, we wouldn't have addressed that left tackle position that everybody's also a little bit worried about. But there has to be some level of sacrifice. That's where I'm at.
Under the assumption that you can, when we're going to keep number 1 and we have to trade 9, it's got to be, it depends on how far you're trading back. And are there enough players there to satisfy your needs once you get to that draft that you traded for, the pick you traded for. Now, if they're trading back to 13, you got to have 4 players you're comfortable with. Now, as you guys know, I feel like we can get an impact wide receiver later in the draft.
Yes.
Okay. I know everybody's. If they draft Rome Odunze at number 9, I will be highly disappointed. I'll be highly disappointed if they draft any wide receiver at 9, because for one, we have 2 stud wide receivers on the roster.
Yes.
And we've got this massive hole on the right side of our defensive line. So my only thoughts are, if we're going to trade back, say, to 13, we got to have 4 players that we're comfortable with taking. Okay. And that would be, to me, one of the tackles, and I'm going to include Alt, I'm going to include Olu, and I'm going to include J.C. Latham.
I knew it.
Yeah, you knew it. And then you got edge rushers, you got Latu, and you have Verse. If those 5 players are still on the board at 9, which they probably won't be, then I'll trade back because I'm assured of getting one of those. That's the only way I'm going to trade back, because it's not drafting the position, it's drafting the correct player.
Quality.
You got to get the blue chip player at that spot.
Yeah.
And for me, those are the only 2 positions that I see worth investing at 9, that high, or at 13, because I think you can get a quality wideout later in the draft. I mean, Odunze is good. Okay, I'd rather have Brian Thomas Jr. Neighbors is good. I'd kind of rather have Brian Thomas Jr., but they're 2 different receivers. The only receiver I think that is blue chip, can't miss, is Marvin Harrison Jr., and he'll be gone before then. I love Brian Thomas Jr. because I think everything I looked at, he's got strong hands. You saw what his 40 time was. He's 6'4". He's got the body. He goes up and he makes the difficult catch. That's an X receiver right there. But I still wouldn't take him at 9. If you can trade back and get one of those 5 players, then I'll do it. Other than that, trade 1, take Daniels, and have fun with the 5 picks you pick up.
Go ahead, Keith.
Well, it really comes down to how the draft pretty much plays out. I think we got to first see who are going to be the first 3 quarterbacks that's taken off the board, and then with that 4th or 5th pick, who goes for what. And I think from there, the domino effect will occur. With regard to that number 9 pick, what would I do with it? Me personally, I think we should trade it back. Try our absolute best to get a 2nd round pick out of that trade back, and more importantly, address the trenches. I'm with Chris with regard to I much prefer to concentrate on getting a wide receiver a little later in the draft. But right now, we gotta address that DN position and a tackle, whether that person play left or right, a tackle, period. Let's make sure that we got those trenches in order because after our conversation yesterday, I kind of thought about it and said, yeah, we have made some additions to the offensive line, but if we're investing a number one pick or number two pick, whatever it turns out to be, um, if we're putting that type of investment on that individual, we got to make sure we can keep them upright. So, Nomad, you have swayed me when it comes to the tackle position. So that's what I think should be done with the ninth pick, and I think the ninth pick carries that much value to where we can accomplish that goal.
Well, go ahead, Brian. What do you think?
Well, how appropriate that it's an election year because I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. Number one,
I'd rather be your number.
number one, if it was me, I would, because you only got 4 picks and we got a ton of holes, I would try to be trading each pick as much as you can and take the best available talent with wherever you ended up with your trades. But also what I would do was say we have 4 picks and we can't trade, even though that's not Poles' MO the past 2 drafts. He's always been able to get more picks. But if he can only get 4 because this is a offense-driven league, what I would do, whether it's Caleb or Daniels, you go number 1. Number 9, I'm getting a wide receiver. I don't care which one of the 3 for the simple fact, you got 2 Pro Bowl older guys. I want a wide receiver that can grow with the quarterback, whichever one that is. My third pick, my third and fourth pick, who's ever available, I would want that running back Braylon Anderson or Allen from Wisconsin for the simple fact, the new rule, the no hip takedown, I want a big guy running the ball. And then once in a while you can throw Swift
That's a
in
good point,
and he
man.
can do the jitterbug.
That's a good point. There.
Then I want to go with a big tight end, that Theo Johnson from Penn State or the tight end from Kansas State, Sonat, or however you pronounce it, because he's 250 also. Yeah, there you go, him. With that no hip tackling crap, I want some big guys.
That's
I want the Bears to be a shootout. We know their defense is good, but I want that offense to be able to take on any team and win a shootout because they have the talent, whether that's running the ball, passing the ball, doing some kind of trick crap.
All right. You know what, man, Brian, I like to fancy myself as a guy that tries to think about every angle with all these players and every possibility, all the little nuances as to why to pick a guy for different reasons, things, intangible things that they bring to the table. Never once have I considered that no hip drop tackle rule in accordance to a guy that we can pick in the draft. I never once thought about that, and that's a good point. And I do remember, I don't know if it was kids or probably was you kids talking about Derrick Henry, but that conversation was just being had before the hip drop rule came out. And so think about that in
take advantage of it.
In hindsight, that's a hell of a point there, Brian. I like that, man. So I appreciate that, man.
Well, in the words of the Macho Man, oh yeah, I dig it.
Man,
Brian.
Oh, Brian Santa Claus, my man.
Shades of Macho Madness back in.
You brought some gifts today, brother.
Macho Man,
everybody.
Macho Man then hit Social Security, didn't he? But hey guys, good stuff today, man. I will reiterate before I let these guys give some closing thoughts. I do believe 100% that the draft is way too strong up in that very top region. I mean, the talent is too thick there to pass up and move down. Like if you move down 2 spots or something like that, I can understand. But I really can't understand that. If you can get a premium blue chip guy at that spot, you stay there and you get him. That's just my opinion, but I'll pass it on to kids for some pleasantries before we close this out.
No Maniacs, thanks a million. Love the activity in the chat as per normal. You guys are keeping it awesome, and a lot of the comments again have helped us spark good conversation as we've moved through the day here today. Thanks for your support as per normal. Thanks for jumping out and hanging out with us today. And Andre Barnes, thanks for coming. Love your comment. ICanham59, thanks for joining the show. Please like, share, subscribe. Cloak94, same. 10 Bears. Yo, keep it popping on Twitter, my bro. Florida Bears fan, love you. My home away from home. Don Burr, we don't love you, but thanks for showing up either way. Don, I'm just messing with you, Don. We got love for you, Don. Leo Factor, thanks for coming out. Lord Crimson, man, so many folks out there, and we really love and appreciate everything you guys do to keep us afloat, and we'll keep you guys, pumped with good content as we continue on. Chris?
Well, I first like to say Brian's rant did remind me of a famous person, but it wasn't Santa Claus.
Oh, peaches!
The old
Gabby
prospector.
The old prospector.
Listen, guys, thanks for joining us
Give
today.
me my pickaxe.
We had a good time today. It was a good, solid discussion and debate. Thanks to everybody who subscribed. Guys, smash the like button. It costs nothing. And if you are subscribed, make sure you hit the notification button. There's still a lot of breaking news to be had, and we'll be right here for you when it happens. To the guys on the panel, thanks again, guys. It's good to see you and chop it up with you. Thanks for your thoughts and prayers on yesterday. And listen, let's just continue to bear down. Appreciate it. Nomad, thank you for your concern, brother. Love you.
Love you back, man. Real talk.
Even though you don't like my sense of humor. But
I don't like your ass right now, but I love you. Go ahead, Keith.
Hey, everybody, thank you again for joining us and staying tuned with us for a little over an hour today. We do appreciate you guys. It means a lot that you can jump in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and spend this time with us in it. We recognize it and we appreciate it and thank you. For my brothers on the panel, as always, it's nothing but love, and we enjoy talking Bear football. Brian, you was on fire today, brother. You was on fire. And Keds, my man, I hear you, brother. Nomad, we're gonna work with you when it comes to this purse, brother. We're gonna work with you. But either way, hey, brothers, it was great and appreciate you guys. And until tomorrow, peace.
Go ahead, Brian. You want to shout out?
Hey guys, thanks again for stopping by and watching us. It always amazes me. Just call me Gabby Johnson. If you ever watch Blazing Saddles, I'm Gabby Johnson. It's always
chickens. Hey, King Booker will call
the sheriff is near.
Just chickens. Just chickens.
Yeah.
But anyway, I always have a blast coming on, and my comments about what I was saying, I agreed pretty much with everybody. I just had to come up with a fresh idea when it was my turn to speak. Whether you agree with me or not, we had fun, and that's the main thing. Love being with you guys. Hit the like button. See you tomorrow.
Rock and roll.
I think the guy said pretty much everything, kind of topped it off. I can't really add a whole lot, but to just kind of ditto, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button, man. We would love to see those subscriptions start going back up, man. We had a nice little, push going on then, and Justin got traded and everything kind of got into a depression, but we're going to still pump out great content, man. And hopefully we're doing that every day, regardless of that situation, man. We moving forward. And please, if you can consider giving us that sub, we would love to see some a little bit of bump going again, man. And we would appreciate it, man. So before we get out of here, all I can do is leave you guys with I love you. But before we get out, I'm saying love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
And maple syrup.
Bear down. Yay, yay.
Bye.